Could XRP's price surge trigger a Bitcoin crash? It's an intriguing idea, and today I'll dive into this fascinating theory. Earlier, someone posted about a potential scenario where XRP skyrockets while Bitcoin takes a nosedive. Why would this happen, and does it even make sense? I'll share my perspective on this bold claim. For XRP enthusiasts like me, who focus heavily on cryptocurrency utility and the bigger vision of these networks driving real economic activity, tired of fake gurus who claim to be expert traders but never trade live? I trade live on the second largest crypto exchange, where everything is transparent and results can't be faked. For over 440 days, I've consistently closed every month in profit. In the last 90 days alone, my followers have earned over $34,000 in profits with only 4% drawdown. Verified results, not empty claims. Want to see my verified stats? Click the first link in my profile and start copying my trades for free today. It's easy to question Bitcoin's role in the grand scheme of things. What's its true purpose? In this video, I'll explore this theory, break it down, and share my thoughts. Stick around, it's going to be an interesting ride. The question of whether Bitcoin will stand the test of time is endlessly fascinating. Critics often dismiss it, pointing to newer cryptocurrencies with flashier features and more advanced networks. And sure, I'll admit the Bitcoin network itself might seem outdated or even useless compared to these shiny new contenders. But here's the thing, there's one aspect everyone seems to overlook in these sweeping judgments: Bitcoin's unmatched network effect. Let's break it down. When we talk about a cryptocurrency's network effect, we're really talking about the strength of its user base and activity. And right now, Bitcoin is the undisputed leader. This matters a lot. Network effects are like the lifeblood of digital ecosystems. The bigger and more active the network, the stronger its foundation. Now, Bitcoin wasn't designed to handle huge amounts of activity or millions of users in the same way other cryptocurrencies are, but that hasn't stopped it from dominating in key areas like mindshare and transaction volume. These metrics are crucial. Even if the network wasn't built for every possible use case, Bitcoin is being used, and it's thriving. That's something no one can ignore. Right now, there's no doubt in my mind Bitcoin is leading the pack when it comes to the network effect. However, I believe the XRP ledger has a unique edge that could eventually help it surpass Bitcoin in this area. Stick around until the end of the video, and I'll explain why I think that's the case. But first, let me share an interesting post I came across today that got me thinking about one of Bitcoin's biggest vulnerabilities. Earlier, Michael Saylor shared a tweet claiming Bitcoin has no counterparty risk. He listed off reasons: no company, no country, no creditor, no competitor, no culture, not even chaos can touch Bitcoin. But then, someone replied to his post with a fascinating perspective. Paul chimed in and said, Bitcoin does have network effect risk. If an altcoin reaches 8 billion daily users first, it could send Bitcoin to zero. That hit me like a lightning bolt because it highlights a massive issue for Bitcoin that's often overlooked. Jack Dorsey, who, by the way, I personally believe might be the mysterious creator of Bitcoin, but that's a topic for another day, recently addressed this risk as well. He tweeted that Bitcoin's biggest threat is the perception of it being just a store of value. If that perception sticks, it could be game over. This revelation adds a whole new layer to the conversation about Bitcoin's future. The big issue with Bitcoin as he sees it is that it limits its own potential network effect. Look at gold as an example. Sure, gold is widely recognized as a store of value, but how many people actually own significant amounts of it? Not many. Some might have a bit tucked away for savings or sentimental reasons, but beyond jewelry or a few niche uses, gold isn't exactly active in everyday life. Yet it boasts a massive $10 trillion 0/10th in cap market cap, which is impressive, no doubt. But here's the thing. When you consider what cryptocurrencies could revolutionize within the financial system, being just a store of value feels underwhelming. It's hardly the end game for crypto. These technologies were designed to be the backbone of a new financial system, a transformative infrastructure. If Bitcoin becomes merely something you hold and stash away untouched for years, it stunts its ability to create a true network effect. Some people may adopt it as a store of value, but others won't, and that lack of integration into real economic activity is a problem. It's not becoming a part of daily financial life. Instead, it's relegated to a digital vault. And that's Paul's exact point. Bitcoin needs to do more than sit on the sidelines if it wants to truly change the game. If Bitcoin ends up being just a store of value held by a select group of people simply to protect their wealth, it creates a major issue for the network's growth. That's where the underlying problem with Bitcoin's creation comes into play. Bitcoin emerged from a grassroots, idealistic movement. People rallied behind it because they believed it was a better alternative to the existing financial system. But because it was discovered so early, the majority of Bitcoin's supply went to those initial adopters who got in before anyone else. Now, these early holders control the bulk of the value, leaving little room for new participants to benefit in the same way. For them, Bitcoin remains a store of value. However, new users entering the space may not see it the same way, as they don't have the same economic advantage that early adopters enjoyed. With most Bitcoin already distributed and with many holders unwilling to part with it, the network risks stagnation. If no one new sees value in joining or using the network, Bitcoin could become more of a closed system than the global, inclusive financial revolution it was meant to be. The network simply isn't equipped to handle anything beyond its current activities. Yet in my view, cryptocurrency networks are going to play a transformative role in the world we're moving toward. Major players like JP Morgan and Citibank are openly acknowledging that public blockchains are groundbreaking innovations set to redefine the financial system as we know it. But let's be honest, Bitcoin isn't capable of carrying that torch. This is exactly why Ripple's strategy has been clear from the start. Change isn't going to come from a grassroots movement where everyone suddenly adopts these networks on their own. That's not how the internet evolved either. We don't directly interact with the internet's underlying protocols. Instead, we rely on intuitive, polished applications that seamlessly connect everything in the background. That's the kind of innovation this space needs to truly thrive. Could I navigate the internet solo, interacting directly with the protocols? Sure, in theory, but do I actually want to? Absolutely not. And honestly, the same goes for cryptocurrency networks. Recently, David Schwartz shared something in an interview that really caught my attention. He said he's more convinced than ever that the top-down approach to cryptocurrency adoption was the right path. At first, I wasn't so sure. I wondered if this was just an early days idea he stuck to, but hearing him double down on this in a recent interview got me thinking. Two things stand out. One, Schwartz truly believes this approach is key, and two, it's a stark reminder that mass adoption of cryptocurrency isn't just far off, it hasn't even started yet. He believes the real breakthrough will happen when people use these networks without even realizing it. That's how XRP could potentially reach 8 billion users. Contrast that with Bitcoin, getting 8 billion people to download wallets, hoard Bitcoin as a store of value, and then stash it away without ever interacting with it again? That's just not realistic. Sure, some people are already heading in that direction. We're seeing steady adoption, but in the grand scheme of things, it's just a drop in the bucket. That strategy alone won't reach 8 billion users. To hit that scale, these networks need to be seamlessly woven into the fabric of everyday financial life, into bank accounts, Venmo, and the apps people use to move money and manage finances. Integration without awareness is the key. And let's be honest, no one's going to start integrating the XRP ledger into these systems on their own. It's time to think bigger. What's next for the financial world? The big players, Bank of America, PayPal, and the giants behind apps with billions of users, will inevitably need to upgrade their infrastructure. Here's the thing, companies like Apple, Amazon, and PayPal don't build their own financial plumbing. Instead, they rely on today's outdated, clunky financial systems. But imagine the possibilities if they embraced something better. No more waiting for payments to clear. No more capital tied up in limbo. These companies are focused on delivering the best user experience, yet their sleek apps are currently stuck running on ancient rails. The future we're moving toward is one where these firms say, why not switch to something faster and more efficient? And just like that, with a single flip of a switch, hundreds of millions, maybe even billions of users could be operating on a cryptocurrency network without even realizing it. This shift could pose one of the biggest challenges to Bitcoin. Why? Because a network offering greater utility and real-world application could easily overshadow Bitcoin's role as a store of value. If XRP and the XRP ledger step in as the new financial rails, the protocol powering money movement across the US and the global economy, it won't just be a small upgrade. It'll be a game changer, creating a system far larger and more impactful than Bitcoin ever dreamed of. This could be the moment that sparks a serious reevaluation of Bitcoin's role in the future we're heading towards. Now, let's be real. This doesn't mean Bitcoin is on a path to zero. People will still hold on to it, but it's becoming clear that Bitcoin won't achieve the mass utility needed to touch every user across the globe. That's a feat only XRP seems equipped to accomplish, and the early signs are already here. I've discussed this endlessly, but it feels like many still don't see the bigger picture. Ripple has quietly set the wheels in motion. They recently acquired Hidden Road, a prime broker handling close to $6 trillion, 0 cents, in annual volume. Pay attention to what Ripple is planning. Hidden Road is already connected to the top 300 financial institutions worldwide, and they're now committing to integrating that massive volume onto the XRP ledger. This is game-changing. We're talking about reaching hundreds of millions of users in one seamless move. And this isn't just about buying something, tucking it away, and forgetting about it. It's about real, tangible utility on a global scale. This isn't just about using a network. It's about transforming it into a core utility, a foundational pillar of the future economy. Pay attention because in my view, this is the greatest challenge to Bitcoin. The XRP ledger becoming a vital component for financial institutions, deeply embedded in the infrastructure of the global financial system. This is how you onboard billions. It's way bigger than simply holding a cryptocurrency, hoping its value skyrockets. This is about a cryptocurrency becoming essential to how the world's economy functions. That's groundbreaking, far beyond anything we've ever witnessed before. Now picture this, RLUSD being used as collateral, effectively connecting the digital asset space in ways we've only dreamed of. And here's where it gets even more exciting. The XRP ledger will power post-trade processes for Hidden Road's prime brokerage services. With a captive audience of 300 institutional clients, this portfolio is bursting with untapped potential. These institutions need robust digital asset infrastructure, and they'll now have access to cutting-edge payment and custody solutions. This is the kind of evolution that changes everything. Our focus is crystal clear: growing our business, creating real-world use cases for digital assets, and solving problems for our banking and institutional clients. Ripple is already partnering with major financial institutions and steadily building the infrastructure that deepens these relationships. Here's the bigger picture: every financial institution will eventually need a cryptocurrency strategy. Ripple isn't just a vendor to these companies, we're a trusted partner. These aren't just one-time clients, they're institutions with hundreds of millions, sometimes billions of users relying on them. This is the game changer for crypto adoption. It's not about 8 billion people individually adopting cryptocurrency, it's about 100 to 300 financial giants integrating networks that connect billions of users worldwide. Thanks for tuning in. We hope you found this update insightful.